Book 1, Law of Salimi Chapter 14, titled Mess with the Best, Die Like the Rest. In the first week of the newly opened semester, I discovered a list of students' names being posted on a piece of paper. That paper was located in our office for our faculty, which is the Faculty of Business Studies. I was taking the program of Diploma in Business Study at ITM Campus Manggatal. The significance of mentioning about this particular piece of paper could prove to be the central piece of my experience as a student at the campus. Can you guess why the list of names was important to the story? It was the list of students with their CGPA. CGPA is the cumulated grade point average. It indicates the academic performance of each student at ITM Campus Manggatal. As explained in earlier chapter, the highest possible result is 4.0 CGPA, which was known as 4 flat amongst students. However, in this particular piece of paper indicated numerous students' names and their acquired CGPA. Some of those names belonged to the peers mentors whom I asked about their CGPA results during the MWS weeks. Apparently, most peers mentors were being modest about their excellent CGPA. For the Faculty of Business Study, the top name appeared at number 1 was written as Su Razli with his 3.70 CGPA, if memory serves. It was also indicated that he was studying in the second semester, which was one semester above our batch. I was excited to meet with this person. Evidently, he was the best student in the program of business studies. I decided to find this person. Maybe I could learn about his study techniques by talking to him. My other classmates also felt excited to meet with the person called Surazli. It seemed that becoming the best student in your program would generate serious admiration and popularity amongst fellow students at ITM Campus Manggatal. Several days later, after finishing my class, I was walking towards my dormitory where I heard a huge commotion or something happening in the garden area next to my dormitory. I became curious to find out what was happening when I saw several of my classmates gathering around in the garden. I moved closer and began inquiring one of my classmates on what the fuss was about. My classmate explained that students were gathering around the best student in our program. I was excited to finally have the chance to meet with Surazli, but I remained calm. I decided not to push through the crowd and waited patiently while observing the adoration over this student named Surazli. It was amazing to receive such admiration, especially because of your academic performance, which was the path that I had chosen for my life. I might experience a hint of jealousy. It was the good kind of jealousy, the kind that would make you want to do better, the kind that fostered the competitive spirit inside my heart. It made me felt happy. It made my heart pump faster. It made my spirit burning. As the mob crowd began to reduce, I saw his face. I took the opportunity and walked slowly towards him. At that time, my mind was blank. Nothing was coming through my mind, not even a single question that I could possibly ask Surazli. As I was standing in front of the senior student, I asked him whether he was Surazli. He answered yes. Next, I asked him whether he was the best student in our program with 3.70 CGPA. He humbly replied yes. After confirming who he was, I began apologizing to him while shaking his hand. He was dumbfounded, including most of my classmates who were still near Surazli. He asked why I was apologizing to him. I introduced myself to him as his junior in the same program of business studies. Then I explained how I saw his name and CGPA results, which was the highest in our program. Later, I clarified that I was apologizing for something that I was about to say. His facial expression turned from confused to curious. I asked him whether he would accept my apology for the words that I was about to say, which he responded that he would, with humongous curiosity, words appearing on his forehead, figuratively speaking. This part of the story, when I started to talk with Surazli, was never rehearsed by myself, Surazli, or anyone else. This event happened almost instantaneously and spontaneously in nature. All I could ever remember from before speaking to Surazli was simply to say how awesome his CGPA result was. Nevertheless, after he agreed to forgive me for something that I haven't said, he smiled. I assumed in excitement. I was silent for a few seconds after hearing that he had accepted my apology, and then I smiled back in excitement, not in any way of sexual nature. I was excited that he was an open-minded person and loved to face challenges in life. That was my assumption of him as soon as he accepted my apology. Then I began to explain how much I respected his amazing CGPA result. I also explained how much I admire having the chance to talk with the best student in our program of business studies. Next, I explained that I have all of the respect in the world to him as a senior student, and how I truly understand that I was simply a new student who just arrived at ITM campus Menggatal. Later, I said the sentence that made me ask for forgiveness from Surazli twice. In the actual real-life experience, our conversation was occurring in Malay language. I was speaking in Malay with the slang of Kelantan and Kuala Lumpur origin, while he was speaking in his Sabahan slang. Both of us understand each other completely. However, considering that this story of my life is written in English language, let me try my best to rephrase everything that I said to Surazli in that particular moment in English language. What I said was, with utmost respect to you, Surazli, as the best student in our program, and as my respected senior student, what I'm about to say is never meant to insult you or anyone for whatsoever reason. My intention here is to become the best student in ITM campus Manggatal, but I saw your name as the best student in our program with the highest CGPA in our program. I respect you for it, but I also hate you for it. So I wish to challenge your result. Starting from this moment on, I will make sure that my name will always be above your name in the best students list. I will break every single record or CGPA result that you have ever achieved at ITM campus Manggatal. You will never again be the best student as long as I'm here. After saying that, I looked at his face, which did not change. He seemed surprised. In most cases, at ITM campus Manggatal, especially while the ragging week was still occurring at that time, any new student who spoke in such manner, regardless of the words being said, to any senior students would clearly be punished and tortured in the worst possible ways. At the very least, after hearing what I just said to him, Surazli deserved to punch me on the face or flying kick my ass into the sea, which was just a few meters away from where we were standing. Any form of rage from him would be considered as a normal senior response. After I had uttered those words was when I started to realize of his possible response to what I had said. My mind began thinking about all of the worst things that might happen to me for being too brazen with my words. I tried to remain calm while still expected any response from him. Soon, his facial expression changed, as if he was trying to analyze what I was saying really did happen to him. His expression suggested that he was trying to process the information after hearing what I just said to him. As both of us just remained quiet, the surrounding classmates of mine began to take several steps away from us, while some began whispering to each other in disbelief on my heinous action towards a senior student. Everyone watching was stunned in surprise and keeping their distance away from me as if they were expecting me to receive a punch to my face. I assumed that during that moment in time, if Twitter was already been invented, everyone watching that quiet moment between Surazli and I would have been tweeting like crazy. Both of us stood there with winds blowing on our face. If this was in a movie, it would be a slow motion moment with 360 degrees of camera circling both of us. I was beginning to get worried as he still did not respond or do anything to me. Maybe he was still computing the most suitable punishment that he could unleash towards me. Even though I understand the possibility of pain that I might receive from saying such challenge, I did not move or even try to protect myself. I was intentionally standing in front of him in the open, still waiting for his reaction of possible response. Then I saw his face change. Both of his eyebrows started to move downwards. He looked really serious. I'm not sure if he was becoming serious to punch me or trying to frighten me. After he stared at me for a few seconds, I saw a smile appearing on his face. Thank God, Alhamdulillah, thanks to Allah the Merciful, that he began to smile. I hesitantly smiled back at him, assuming that he was not going to attack me. Soon, he began to say to all of my classmates surrounding us that he wished every new student should think like this one, while he pointed at me. He continued to explain that he wanted every new student to try and challenge his academic achievement. He wished that every student would be brave enough to strive for the best result possible in our academic studies at ITM campus Manggatal. If possible, try to get 4.0 flat, 4.0 flat, 4 flat in our CGPA. Everyone seemed to be cheering, hearing his words that inspired all of us to be the best. Next, he wished good luck in our studies and began to excuse himself as he wished to return to his dormitory room. I realized how great he answered my challenge by addressing the crowd, but he did not say anything directly to me. For whatever reason that he chose to do, I was inspired by everything that he said to all of us. Later, he began walking. He suddenly turned towards me and asked my name. I said, Azim Salimi. He said, well, Azim, I'm waiting for you at the end of the semester. After that, he walked straight into his dormitory and disappeared from my sight. I was unable to move. I felt that my heart was on fire. I felt something inside me was burning intensely. I felt a pure white light was shining ever brightly inside my heart. I did not move or say anything. I was standing there doing nothing. My mind was blank. I was extremely elated. I was in utter bliss. I was absolutely inspired. Challenge accepted. That ends the chapter 14. Thank you very much for listening and hope to hear you again in the next video. Thank you very much.